The story begins in 1930s Korea. A young pickpocket named Suk-hee is hired by a conman who calls himself Count Fujiwara, who is posing as a Japanese nobleman. Fujiwara has a plan. He wants Suk-hee to pose as a maid to a wealthy heiress named Lady Hideko, who lives under the strict control of her oppressive uncle, Kuzuki. The goal is for Suk-hee to help Fujiwara manipulate Hideko into marriage so they can steal her fortune. Once married, Fujiwara will commit Hideko to an asylum, securing the inheritance for himself and Suk-hee. Suk-hee travels to Kuzuki's grand yet eerie estate to start her new role. There, she meets Lady Hideko, a beautiful and elegant woman who appears sheltered and innocent. Suk-hee's job is to gain Hideko's trust while secretly working to convince her that marriage to Fujiwara would be ideal. However, as the two women spend time together, Hideko begins to grow attached to Suk-hee, and a bond forms between them. But as they share more time together, their interactions become warmer, and an unspoken intimacy develops. Hideko, who has lived a very controlled and isolated life, is intrigued by Suk-hee's free spirit and curiosity about the world. Suk-hee, meanwhile, one evening, Hideko suffers from a nightmare, and Suk-hee comforts her. This moment breaks down some barriers between them, and the connection grows. Later, while they are talking in Hideko's bedroom, Hideko confesses that she feels trapped in her uncle's household and speaks of the sadness she experiences, where they look at each other with a deeper understanding. One night, Suk-hee and Hideko's grilling attraction comes to a peak. As Hideko prepares for bed, she hesitantly asks Suk-hee to join her, confessing she has feelings she doesn't entirely understand. Suk-hee, feeling the same, joins her, and they share an intimate night together. This marks a treading point, as they each feel a mixture of attraction and companionship they haven't experienced before. As their romance blossoms, Suk-hee finds herself struggling with the deception. He is bare to betray Hideko, yet she can't deny her growing feelings. Meanwhile, Fujiwara continues his pursuit, trying to win Hideko's affection. Suk-hee follows his orders and speaks highly of him, trying to persuade Hideko that he would make a good husband. Hideko seems somewhat interested, but appears to have doubts. As their relationship continues, Hideko reveals more of her painful past. She explains the unsettling role her uncle plays in her life, forcing her to read readings are traumatic for Hideko and reveal the level of control Kuzuki has over her. She is desperate to escape and confides in Suk-hee about her plans to leave. Fujiwara's plan finally advances when he convinces Hideko to marry him, promising her freedom from her uncle. After their marriage, they check into a hotel where Fujiwara plans to put Hideko into an asylum to complete the plan. Suk-hee, who has fallen in love with Hideko, struggles with the reality of betraying her. Then, a twist. Hideko reveals she knew about the plan all along. She was aware that Fujiwara and Suk-hee were planning to betray her and had her own scheme in place to outsmart them. At the institution, the tables are turned. It's not Suk-hee. Fujiwara and Lady Hideko have been working together all along to deceive Suk-hee. They played her just as she thought she was playing Lady Hideko. Suk-hee is locked up in the asylum, left to deal with the consequences of the betrayal. It is a huge twist, revealing that Lady Hideko was aware of the con from the beginning. She and Fujiwara had their own plan, and Suk-hee, the supposed con artist, has been outsmarted. The film then shifts to Hideko's perspective, showing us her wife under her uncle's control. Since childhood, Kuzuki forced her to read disturbing material and perform in degrading public readings for his own gain. Hideko's desire to escape became a driving force, and she saw an opportunity to use Fujiwara and Suk-hee's plan for her own freedom. While in the asylum, Suk-hee manages to escape with the help of some unexpected allies. She realizes that she still has feelings for Lady Hideko, despite the betrayal, and decides to find her. She knows that even though Lady Hideko tricked her, she's still trapped in a terrible life with her uncle and Fujiwara. Suk-hee's escape is a tense and dramatic sequence, filled with danger as she navigates her way out of the institution. Once she's free, she sets out to track down Lady Hideko and confront her about everything that has happened. Suk-hee finds Lady Hideko back at her uncle's estate, and the two women have an emotional confrontation. They both acknowledge the deception and betrayal, but it's clear that their feelings for each other are real. Lady Hideko explained that she had no choice but to go along with Fujiwara's plan, as she had been under her uncle's control for so long. Suk-hee and Lady Hideko must now figure out how to move forward. They know that they can't trust Fujiwara or Kazuki, but they also know that they can't continue living in this web of lies and betrayal. Despite everything that has happened, Suk-hee and Lady Hideko decide to join forces to take down their true enemies, Kazuki and Fujiwara. They make a new plan, this time with both of them fully aware of what's at stake. Steal away in the dead of night, quickly gathering essentials and slipping out of Kazuki's mansion under a cover of secrecy. Their first obstacle is crossing the mansion's guarded grounds without drawing attention. Moving quietly through the shadows, they avoid the dim pools of light cast by the lanterns around the property. They press forward, slipping through the back entrance and into the thick forest surrounding the estate. Every noise around them, a snapping twig, a rustle of leaves, puts them on edge as they navigate the dark. The journey is fraught with risks. Along the way, they dodge several of Kazuki's men, who are on high alert, sent out to track them. They find a secluded path, moving quickly through the dense woods and choosing hidden routes to avoid being detected. To cover their tracks, they take unpredictable turns, traveling by lesser-known trails to make their escape difficult to trace. Eventually, the two manage to find a safe house far from the estate, where they change into simple clothing to blend in better. Here, they catch their breath briefly, gathering the resources needed for the next leg of their journey. They're aware that Kazuki and Fujiwara won't give up easily and need to stay on the move to avoid being caught. Their final escape is by boat. Suk-hee and Hideko board, casting a final glance back at the life they're leaving behind. One of control, deception, and betrayal. The boat's engine roars to life, and they drift away, watching the shore disappear as they make their way toward a new beginning. Together, they're free from the grip of Kazuki and Fujiwara, ready to start fresh without fear of being pulled back into their old lives.